Welcome back to Partners. We return to our husky puppy Skye, who will be finishing up her second week at our facility and doing a little more off-leash obedience as well as socialization before heading back home.
So right now I have Skye in daycare for the first time. Socialization wasn't necessarily, a big issue or a factor that I needed to incorporate into her training session or her training journey, I should say. I knew she was going to be well and good with the other dogs. I have, had her interact, socialize with the dog one-on-one, and during a lot of our potty rotation, she's had a lot of that time interacting with the other dogs, getting that play time in. But I had bigger issues when, I was actually doing a training session with her, so I didn't want to take the time away from that to, do a training session with her in the daycare yard. But, since we're coming up to the end of her 2 weeks, I just kind of wanted to give her the privilege, give her the freedom, rather than just, incorporating her training, hanging out throughout the day on place or in the crate. Just want to let her, have the chance to release some energy, socialize, interact with a lot of the other dogs. As you can see, for her first time in the daycare with this many dogs around her off leash, she's been doing a fantastic job. Was a little hesitant walking in, which is natural, just all the pressure of the other dogs kind of rushing that gate when she was coming in. But as soon as I walked her through it, let her off the leash, this is what she started doing. Very appropriate, very playful, respectful, not too pushy. I've seen a couple dogs already kind of set boundaries. She takes corrections well, understands all the other dogs' cues and everything like that. Over time, I'm sure she'll get a little bit more confident, get a little bit more rambunctious, get a little bit more energetic. But over the next couple of days before she goes home, I definitely want to teach her that out command. Just when she does get a little playful and that play maybe escalates, that out command will be good for her to, just have her understand she needs to physically remove herself, disengage with whatever that we're outing her from. I think that out command will be very beneficial for her owners back at home when she is up north, in those, just kind of freedom woods and everything like that. A lot of her off-leash work, she does get a little rambunctious, maybe kind of wants to interact with those wild animals. They can kind of give her that out command. She'll disengage, kind of run away.
So we're wrapping up Skye's second week with us here today. It's her last day with us for her transition tomorrow. Potentially, it was up in the air that we were going to keep her for a third week, but I'm just waiting to hear back from Sherry, Skye's mom today, just kind of see what the plan is. But, if not, I'm still kind of just taking today like it's her last day. But just to do a short little recap, on her second week, she just keeps improving every single day. I'm just seeing the potential, just continue to grow in her. She's a very sweet and very, very smart dog. She's learned everything rather quickly. But going into the second week, I definitely had a few things that I wanted to focus on with her. One was just simply that impulse control. At the end of the day, she is a husky puppy. Just has a lot of those silly tendencies in her, just a lot of that stubbornness, independence with her. So, I just wanted to kind of teach her, the value to the side of training in order to continue to establish that relationship. Just make her more interested in me and then, instead of the rest of the facility. So just that simple engagement was a big thing that we addressed this week. Just continue fine-tuning a lot of her obedience. She did learn a majority of it going into that first week, but, I really just wanted to make sure she was consistent with all of her commands. I knew a few times on the days when I wasn't here and she was working with some of our other trainers, she gave her a difficult time, just some of her simple commands, especially in that crate. So, that was another big focus, was just, making sure that consistency with her obedience in the crate was going to follow through. Another thing that I worked on this week was just continuing to fine tune her recall. She does it pretty good if we're just doing a basic training recall, like out of the stay, on leash, but she definitely takes advantage of that freedom when she is off leash. She just turns into a very silly dog, likes to kind of run around and get the zoomies. So, I've been focusing on just doing a lot of long line stuff with her. In the sense, just giving her that freedom, but, I would kind of just tether that long line to me just so I had that control, just because, I know the recall is going to be one of the very most important commands that she needs to have going home. It was one of the owner's biggest goals. They have a house up north here in Arizona, so, she definitely has a lot of freedom, spends a lot of time, just out in the woods and the outdoors, so that solid recall is definitely going to be something that the owner has to, utilize going forward. So that was a big goal for us this week. But, over the few sessions I did with those long line recalls, getting into the off-leash recalls, we had a few very successful sessions with her. But like I said, just taking today like it is her last day, just kind of fine-tuning everything that I went through working her on this second week. So tomorrow, if it all goes as planned like it is now, we're gonna have her transition lesson. So that's gonna be a huge day for Skye and her owners. Obviously while Skye's here, my job is to teach her everything, but tomorrow here, that transition or that working demo, it's now about teaching Sherry and her husband, all the obedience that I have taught her, kind of just going over everything, just making sure they understand the obedience side of things, just to make sure she's successful when she goes home and there's gonna be no regression there. But it's making sure, we go over all her obedience, those verbal commands, I need to teach her the hand signals that they're gonna be utilizing with her. But essentially just, giving her my job so she can be successful with Skye at home, taking over as her next trainer, pack leader for her. But, for a second week for a husky puppy, I think we were very successful going forward.
It's me. Come here, baby. Skye. Hi. Hi. Hi, sweetheart. Ah, yeah. I know.
Oh, you're
Hi. Hi. You've been having fun, huh?
Good girl, Skye.
You've been having fun? Aw, look at that face. Yes. I love you. Good girl.
So starting off with our healing, which is basically everything, the majority of what I have done since we walked in our room. But again, she has now been patterned to understand heel here to be on our left-hand side. So, as she gets more advanced especially, she's going to understand tracking our left leg. So she's kind of watching that, matching my pace, watching me to change direction. But with our healing, heel is more of a position rather than just simply the action and the motion of us walking. But when we do begin moving and walking, it's the position that I want to hold her accountable to. So for my appropriate heel position, Skye down. I'm going to look for the dog's front shoulders to be nice and parallel with my left leg. So I want her body to be nice and straight, obviously not gonna be too far in front of me, not too far behind me. So this is a textbook perfect down at heel. But even though I'm not moving, we're still technically healing. So it's not okay for her to get up, break this down, try to pull over to Cal, try to go pull over you, go this way, react to the dogs, the strangers, the wild animals, whatever it is. It's the same thing as if she's pulling on leash or she's breaking out of the leash when we actually are walking. So again, even though I'm at a standstill, the same rules apply as when we do begin moving. So once I'm ready to step off with her and we're gonna begin moving, it's just simply Skye, heel, good girl, and now we're moving. And once we're moving, it's just all about keeping her in this heel position. So again, I have a mixture of ways that I can, kind of keep her held accountable.
I have enough room in that backyard, the little place, to do what you're doing.
Oh yes, do it everywhere. You can do it inside, backyard. Definitely want her understanding control in every environment that she's gonna be dealing with, exactly. But again, I'll talk about these turns in just a minute. Just simply keeping her here. It's just a mixture of, utilizing her training collar and my leash. All my verbiage cues, my corrections, my yes markers, treats, lures, and then my body pressure. Good girl, Skye, yes.
So what's the verbal signal for heel?
Stepping off with your left foot.
Left foot, okay.
Yep. This was like one of the first commands that she actually kind of connected the dots to. But there was just like one day, I'm like, all right, let's see how you do this. And I kind of just guided her on there and she just naturally turned around and laid down. And then I just kind of like left her there and I was like, you already know place basically. So made my job a lot easier. So I'm gonna show you kind of that send again. So again, place doesn't necessarily need to be a raised, elevated cot bed like that. It can be any change of surface differentiating from the floor. So again, if you guys already have like a dog bed for her, a dog mat or something like that, or you can put even like a blanket, a towel on the floor or something like that. I prefer the elevation just because it kind of gives the dog something that easier to target and it kind of sets more of a boundary. But again, that's just preference. You can have a lot of success doing it with a towel, a dog bed. I have a couple of these in my house, but then I'll also use like my dog's just normal dog bed as like a place bed in our living room whenever I need it. So it's okay if you have multiple place beds, if you have different place beds. But now, when I am sending Skye to place, Skye, go to place. I'm gonna guide her up. And the patterning I am looking for is for her to turn around so she is facing me and then laying down. So again, if I'm setting her from this way, I want her turning around, face facing me, not, you know, the opposite. So butt here, head here. I want her turning around and then laying down. Now from here, that's a down stay. Same exact rules apply. She's not to get up off of place until told otherwise. So again, that would be free, or I can just simply go grab the leash, heel her out of there or something like that, and then we're gonna build up that duration the same way. So again, step one, reward, treat, toy. Actually, maybe not a toy, on place or something like that, unless it's like a chew bone. But you know, I don't want to be like, oh, good girl, Skye, good stay, or good place, and go hand her a squeaky toy, and then she gets all energetic and tries to go get the zoomies and rush off of place. So that is something to keep in mind, you know, with your reward of a stay or place. Just keep it calm, because again, if I walk up and I'm like, oh my God, Skye, you're doing so good, your duration, your place, she's gonna feed into that energy and more so kind of break up. I want to keep energy nice and calm with the dog on place. So again, you know, all it has to be just like, yes, good girl, here's a cookie, here's a little head scratch, and that's it.